So without any further ado, Ms. Kelly Calderon.
Thank you, Kyle. Good morning, everyone. Ooh, excuse me. My grandfather was born in 1903 in a small town in Italy. He was the Minister of Agriculture in the region of Tuscany during World War II, and he was also a prisoner of war. Thankfully, he was returned mostly unharmed to my grandmother and my father. He experienced many great inventions throughout his lifetime. Einstein's theory of relativity, the invention of airplanes, radio remote control, but the internet, that he would not get to experience. Yet, as much history as there is that surrounds this amazing man, if you search for him, you'll find little to no information online. Yet if you search for me, Kelly Calderon, some 113 years later, you will find all sorts of interesting facts, like that I do love to travel, that I'm an outdoor enthusiast, that I love animals. In Matt's little video, I probably would have been the dolphin, maybe. My husband calls me the dolphin whisperer. I love to go horseback riding, and I'm an Italian-American citizen. All of these things readily available if you search for me. So with search engines, have gone from being non-existent to being central to our everyday lives. And not only can we see with the evolution of technology, what people are searching for, but we can see what they are doing after they click and land on a website. And that's really what we're going to talk about today, is metrics in the moment. When we talk about the do stage of the buying cycle, we're really talking about the conversion. So in today's agenda, we are going to explore what exactly is a conversion, look at ways to define it and set it up. We're also going to explore some different things that influence or deter people from converting. And then, of course, we're going to look at ways to track and measure it. So when I'm speaking of conversions, we're really two different types to look at: on-site conversions and off-site conversions. On-site conversions are those things that happen on your website after the user gets there, right? Did they pick up the phone and call you? Did they sign up for your newsletter? Did they fill out a form or purchase something from you if you're an e-commerce site? All of those things happen after the fact, after they arrive. What's that next step or next action that the user takes? Off-site conversions are typically referred to as media, especially media where the goal is different than getting them to go to your website and take an action. For example, I'm sure several of you have social media campaigns running right now. More than likely, the goal from that campaign isn't for the user to pick up the phone and call you. Although that would be nice, right? We would love for that to happen. But typically, engagement is what we're looking for from social media. So a conversion in that sense might be a like or a share from an article that you just posted 2 hours ago. When we look at different forms of media, like doing a geofencing campaign. So a completed goal or a conversion in a geofencing campaign might look like a verified walkthrough, right? Because the user walked into the geofence. For sponsored content, the goal for that article that was beautifully written is engagement as well, right? Or shares. So some of those conversions that happen in media are different from what happened on our site. A conversion, by definition, is really just the recipient of a marketing message taking the action that you define as valuable. And that action is defined by you. Today, we're going to spend the majority of the time talking about on-site conversions, and that starts with your website. Regardless of what type of marketing you're doing, your website has a role to play, and that role is to convert the users or the visitors that come to your website into potential customers, right? You could be doing the best marketing in the world, but if you fail here, you potentially lose the customer. If you think of your website as a virtual storefront, it has just as strong of an impression on your potential customer as if they walked right into your building. So we really have to consider this when we're doing any form of marketing and understanding that your website has this strong role to play. So ultimately, this is where you convert them. And good news is it can be measured. You might be asking yourself, how do I know if people are converting on my website, right? I know I'm getting people to my website. I've seen some of my statistics. People are coming to my website, but are they converting? What is your role in this? So the very first thing that you need to do is have some type of digital analytics installed. Show of hands, who is already using Google Analytics? Fantastic. We do too. And that's not just because we are a Google Premier SMB partner. It's because Google Analytics is the industry standard, right? It's a fantastic tool. Thank you, Google, for providing us such a wonderful free tool for our businesses. So after you have Google Analytics installed, you are going to define your ultimate business objective. So if you are in the online world with your website, there are typically 5 objectives that you are going to have. So if you sell goods or products online, that one's a little bit easier to define. That ultimate business objective would be to sell things, right? You want people to purchase from you. If you are an online publisher like AL.com, your goal might be frequent visitors and engagement, right? We want people to come back, read stories, and engage. So the different business objectives that you can define in analytics, so that's kind of the starting point. Try to figure out what role does your website play in this whole process, and what are you trying to get it to do? After you've defined your business objective, you're going to define the desired outcome. All the terminology I use here is very Google Analytics, and I'm using it specifically so when you do go back to your office or you come back and meet with us for some additional resources, that you can see exactly what we're referring to in your Google Analytics. So when you define desired outcomes, that's going to match and be very similar to what your business objective is. So in the same example of if you sell things online, right, you have an e-commerce site, your business objective is to sell things. So defining a desired outcome would be cha-ching, checkout, right? You have a page there that's a thank you page, a confirmation page that somebody gets once they purchase something. So that could be a desired outcome on your website. So after you have defined all of these things, then you're actually going to go in and set up some goals in Google Analytics so that you can track and measure these things. Once you first have Google Analytics installed, there's a plethora of data available to you right out of the box without you having to set up goals, and this is fantastic. There are different things that Google Analytics give you, different pieces of information about your website that help tell your website story. What are people doing? What do people think of my website? A key metric I always analyze is bounce rate. So if you think of bounce rate as kind of a key indicator of were you relevant to what that person was expecting or searching for? So if someone did an online search and whether they clicked on an organic ad or a paid search ad, did I deliver on what that person was expecting, what they were actually searching for? Bounce rate's a key indicator of that. Did your website take too long to load? Bounce rate could really be affected by that too. So bounce rate, percentage of new sessions. Are you reaching new people every month, or is it just your same customers coming again and again? That's very valuable as well, but obviously to grow a business, you want to be reaching new people. Look at things like average session duration. How long are people staying on my site? Are they engaged? Are they consuming the content that I've invested in and placed on my site? So all of these things are key indicators that tell the story of your website. This data helps you make better marketing decisions. Of course, it does not track conversions automatically. Those you actually have to set up. But the information that does come out of the box is valuable to you for you to analyze every month to see what's going on with your website. So to be able to track conversions, you have to set up goals in analytics. There are 4 goal types in Google Analytics to set up so that you can see what people are doing after the fact. The first goal to set up in Google Analytics is a destination goal. And this is just like that e-commerce example that I gave to you, where you would mark a page, like a thank you page or a confirmation page. When that page loads, that's considered a goal completed, right? So you would say, my goal is to sell things. I mark the thank you page or the confirmation page. When that thank you page or confirmation page is shown, that's a conversion, right? The second goal is duration. So you could set a goal time of, I want users to come to my site, and my goal is for them to spend at least 5 minutes. Because if they spend at least 5 minutes, I know they're 10 times more likely to buy from me because they're engaged, right? You could also set a goal as pages per session. So if you know that, hey, I need people to see multiple things on my website, to read multiple articles, or to view multiple products, because my chances of converting them after they've seen 10 pages or so are much greater than if they only saw 1 or 2. And an event goal. This is probably one of the most common goals that is set in Google Analytics. And this tells us, what did the user do after they came to my website? What different things did they click on? For example, it could be that you're on Amazon and you add something to your wish list. I guarantee you Amazon is tracking that, because that's what they do when they start following you around with an ad and convince you to come back and purchase with them, right? It could be that you put an event goal on social media shares, right? You want to see if people are hitting share this to Facebook or whatever, contact us buttons, different things on your website that you can see what people are doing. But these are the 4 goals in setting up analytics that you would use to see how people are converting. And this is just a little screenshot of what it looks like. Google Analytics is very clean and kind of prompts you through the next step. That's great. So let's just look at a real live example of this so it makes that it's a little more closer to home. I'm going to use my friend Jeanette. So let's say Jeanette was reading a magazine and she saw a picture of Johnny Beanie shoes that she was just like, those are awesome, super hot shoes. She picks up her phone, searches for Johnny Beanie heels, clicks on a result from Amazon, because Amazon's everywhere, especially in the product space. She goes to Amazon, looks at 7 or 8 pairs of shoes, adds 1 to her wish list, pins another pair on her Pinterest profile because she loves the imagery, and then she leaves. She does not purchase. Later on, she's playing around on Facebook, like we all do, and she sees an ad with those same Johnny Beanie heels that she actually put in her wish list, right? Because Amazon is following her around and reaching back out to her. She clicks on the ad, adds them to her shopping cart, checks out, boom, she converted. In that example, Amazon could have been tracking multiple things in analytics. So they could have been tracking the destination page, right? Jeanette actually purchased the shoes, so she received a thank you page or a confirmation page after she purchased them. It could be that pages per session that Jeanette actually viewed 7 or 8 pairs of shoes, so she was consuming a lot of content on Amazon, so they know that. And also, she triggered multiple events. She added something to her wish list, she shared it on social media, she hit add it to my shopping cart. All of those things can be tracked in analytics and tell the story of what Jeanette did and how she ultimately came to purchase those shoes. Once you have all of your goals set up and you have enough data to analyze, some of the key metrics in analyzing conversions are, of course, your goal completions. You know, how many people actually completed the goal that I said, this is what I want the user to do. You can look at that in the form of a percentage, goal conversion rate, how many people that came to my site actually went through and converted. Abandonment rate, that's a very important metric to look at too, because in the example with Jeanette, you could see that, oh, Amazon saw she did not check out, right? She didn't purchase them. She added something to her wish list, but she did not purchase them. So Amazon says, okay, I want to reach back out to her. You guys can do that as well. You can look at the value, goal value here, which is extremely important for your business to be able to see and measure results as they relate to your advertising channels. So let's say you sell insurance, and you know that for every 20 phone calls that you get from your website, that you'll actually write 3 policies. So you could do a little math and assign a goal value to each phone call coming in from your website. Then to take that a step even further, you can analyze all of this data by marketing channel, marketing medium. So if you want to compare how people are converting that come from Google Organic versus Bing Organic, or from your advertising channels, from a campaign that you're doing on AL.com or your AdWords campaign, you can analyze all of this data, so it'll help you make better marketing decisions that are actually tied to a relevant ROI, and like Matt touched on, right? We shouldn't be in the phase anymore where, you know, half of your dollars, marketing dollars are working and half are not anymore, unless your television's a little harder to measure in that sense. But for digital, you can actually see what's going on here. So, audience participation portion of the program. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand, so please don't call it out loud, and there may or may not be prizes. So, can anyone tell me one of the four one of the four goals that can be set up in analytics? Anyone? Over here. An event. Perfect, yes. Back here, watch. Duration. Perfect. Anyone else? Back here, whoever's back here. Patient per session. Awesome. Last one? Destination, yes. But good, thank you for trying. That's something you can measure after you have the goal set up too. So Christine here will pass out the gift cards on just a minute. Great, thank you. Thanks for participating. We had a quiet room yesterday. All right, how many people are just as guilty as me and watch The Bachelor? Yeah, a few that will admit it. Right. Yes, I know, I see some people pointing each other out here. Yeah, it is my guilty pleasure. It's my hour of mindless television a week. Some of us at work get together and have our, we've made it into a competition to actually have a Bachelor bracket, so that's just how we roll. But anyway, Ben here, our Bachelor, he's gone on the show, The Bachelor, in the hopes of finding his future wife, right? So he starts out dating 20-something plus women, and now it's down to a couple, right? 2 or 3. Ben, on the first night of the show, when he met all of the women, he didn't propose to any of them, right? Because that would be weird. Typically, people don't do that. Typically don't meet someone for the first time and propose. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but that's not typical, right? Typically, you want to get to know someone. Like, he's taking all of these women on dates, finding out what their likes and their interests are, their hobbies, what things might tick them off a little bit, pushing their buttons just to see what's their background, what are their parents like. This can kind of have the same scenario when we consider our website. Many times we expect people to come to our website and say, I do, to us the very first time they've engaged with us. So a best practice would be to expose people to your brand multiple times before you expect them to convert. Just like Jeanette and Amazon, right? Even though she knows who Amazon is, and she viewed multiple products on Amazon's site, she still needed to be kind of warmed up a little bit to, hey, come back, please purchase these shoes. So I say this because we're about to go over some examples of, I look at some examples of conversion influencers, things that can help people to convert on your website. But before that, they have to have been exposed to your brand. So you can have a really good website, and it can be built in a way that really is focused on converting people, but if it's the first time that they've experienced your brand, your likelihood of converting them is less than if you've had multiple touch points with them. So you want to make sure you're doing a holistic campaign, that you're not just focused on the conversion. There are multiple things that happen before you get them down to the conversion. But when you do get them to this stage of the buying cycle, there's some things you can do to your website. Here's a great example that I love from Gift Rocket with a strong call to action. Tell the person what you want them to do. This is short and sweet, send a Gift Rocket, a few bullet points, a few examples. All of this information is above the fold. This had a very strong conversion rate because it's short and sweet, cool infographic. I love this one from Gift Rocket. Just like many times we expect people to say I do to us on the first time they come to our website, a lot of times we expect them to make a decision without giving them enough information. This is a great landing page from Less Accounting, where you can see what Less Accounting is expecting this user to do is to choose a package, right? So you want to make sure that you're giving that user enough information. Price points, the difference between the packages. Here's a 3-minute video demo, still not sure. but still a call to action, right? Start a free trial. This is a great example of a landing page that provides enough information to allow that user to take the next step, but not too much information. Quality imagery is extremely important for anybody who sells products or services on their website, whether or not you are e-commerce. How many automotive guys are in the room? Right? How important is it to have quality images of your cars on your website? People want to see things, right? Imagery creates emotion. We like shiny things. Like I keep looking at these chandeliers. They're so beautiful. Like you just want to see something that you have on your website. Make sure it's good quality imagery, especially if you're expecting the person to actually purchase it on your website. It's very important. Just like there are several things to do, I've been told I was supposed to wear something similar to this and actually do this. Several things that you should not do as well, and I call these things conversion deterrence, right? Things that can stop the user from taking the next step. So they've gone through the buying cycle and they're getting warmed up to you, and then boom, they land on your website or the landing page and they're like, ooh, I don't know, I'm not ready for that. The big offender is an unprofessional, outdated website. How many people have come across a website like this before? I mean, we all have. And, bravo for this person of having a website, but it does send a poor example, or it gives us a bad impression of this business. And they could be a wonderful business with a beautiful showroom, but from this impression we get, I mean, I imagine that they might have shag carpeting and lime green wallpaper. And that's just me in my head. I'm imagining that from this image, right? It could be totally not related. But the point is, this is the impression that your customer is getting, because if they've never walked into your storefront and they haven't been exposed to your brand, this is your storefront. So I highly recommend, if you have an unprofessional, outdated site, invest in the time and the money to make that right. Just as we need to give enough information for somebody to make a decision if we expect them to convert, too much information is not a good thing either. So in this example from Rutgers, there's so much going on here. I mean, they try to speak to multiple people, current students, alumni, faculty, and staff. I don't know what this guy is doing here. It's just a lot of stuff going on. You can read the news if you want to. It's overload, right? We need to be kind of one focused, one message to that audience to get them to convert. So all of these examples were more, you could kind of say bad versus good, or bad content versus good content. But really it's about imagining your website as a representative of your company or a salesperson. Bad content can be like Jim here. Does anybody know Jim? Yeah, Jim got fired last week because he shows up to work drunk all the time, and we caught him giving cigarettes to our customers, and he mumbles a lot, and we just really poor representation of the company, so we had to let him go. But on the other hand, good content can be like Bill here, right? Bill is your guy. Bill is the guy you want in every sales call. You want him representing your brand. You want him at every meeting that you have, because he's very well spoken, he's very professional, very well dressed, and he's a salesperson. He knows how to close business. He knows how to convert. So some key takeaways. I'm Kelly. I love the outdoors and I love dolphins. Digital analytics tell your website story. Google Analytics is a free tool if you're not using it. Highly suggest you use it. And your website is your digital storefront, so just remember that impression. It is your virtual business. So if you need some help with any of this, at Alabama Media Group, we offer some additional resources. We offer courses in Google Analytics and things for business owners to get started. We don't expect you guys to know all this information. I am Google Analytics certified, and as well as most of our staff here, so we have those resources to help you. And thank you so much for your time.